Hey everyone, Kyle once again, aka Jurassic Godzilla fan. So now we're on the last film of the Jaws series, and of course, Jaws 4: The Revenge. This time, it's personal. Oh boy, Jaws 4: The Revenge. As everybody calls it, one of the worst films ever made. Yep. I do see it is definitely one of the worst films ever made. And of course, it is one of the worst films ever made because it has a frickin' 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. 0. 0. And on IMDb, it has 2.7 on IMDb. And it deserves it. It deserves a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it deserves a 2.7 on IMDb. And it should stay that way. And it definitely should stay that way. Now, the film is directed by Joseph Sargent, who directed the original Taking Apollo 1, 2, 3 with Walter Matthau and Robert Shaw. I haven't seen the original. But definitely say, even though I saw the trailer all at once a long time ago, I can tell that film is definitely better than this. And stars Lorraine Gary, who was Chief Brody's wife, Ellen Brody. And this is also the last film that this is the last film that Lorraine Gary starred in. And I don't blame her after this mess, you know. After this mess, after starring in one of the worst films ever made, I retired from acting. Makes sense, you know. And it also stars Lance Guest, which I remember him from Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2. And it stars Mario Van Peebles and Michael Caine. Michael Caine in a Jaws film, yeah. And so where to start? Now, it was released July 17th, 1987. And surprisingly, even despite being one of the worst films ever made, it was still a box office success. Surprisingly, you know, at $20 million budget and total worldwide, it made only 51 million worldwide. So yeah, despite all the shit that critics gave it and audiences too, people still wanted to see it, and the last film was a success, surprisingly. 51 million worldwide against a $20 million budget. Although it did come out. I know for a fact it did come out the same weekend as the original RoboCop, and that claimed #1. And Jaws Jaws the 4 came in #3. RoboCop 100 times better than this film. And I'm glad that they got #1 rather than this film, because I could definitely see, yeah. Now, getting to the point, to get into the start of the film, it's like a couple of years later, that Ellen Brody is with her son, you know, cooking dinner, and they get a call, you know, that from her son Mike, who's living in the Bahamas now. He's no longer It's funny. He's no longer working at SeaWorld. He's now a marine biologist. Go from that to that job. So, but different actor playing Sean. He's now a deputy. And you say, oh, when for a split second, you know, when during the sheriff, the the sheriff's office. You see a picture. There's a picture of Roy Scheider. Yeah, because now you can tell that he's dead now. The character is, not the actor, because back then he was still alive, but the character is dead though. He's gonna go on out to the dock and to drive because towards this thing. It was like a buoy, I think, as it had like a log stuck under it. He was gonna take that, but all of a sudden the shark comes in and takes his arm off. And I love how his reaction, because he sees when you get your arm bit off, you scream out in excruciating pain, but he doesn't. You see, he falls, and you see his arm is gone. And he's like, oh god, yeah, he knows it's just a second later, all of a sudden his arm is gone. He doesn't scream out and cry in pain, for a second, but now he knows it. He starts crying out, and he's crying out like people are like, oh, help me, and when you're on a boat, if you're crying out, help me, why don't you still have one arm, you can still drive the boat and try to get to safety though, but no, you lean out on the edge of the boat, crying out, help me, and just waiting for the shark to rise up again to get you, because you're leaning towards the boat, crying out for help. But he dies, and he's still holding onto the log for dear life, but that's not gonna save him. But he dies, so, and he wasn't fully eaten, because you see the next shot of his leftover body was, covered up, as Ellen Brody was looking, and she already knows what killed him, because all the stuff in the past, what happened with 3 sharks. Well, she wasn't there, she didn't make an appearance in the 3rd film, but she should know about the 2 sharks, two counterattacks with sharks. Then Mike and his wife and her little girl. I just wanted to know the little girl daughter is played by Judith Barcey. Judith Barcey. This was a tragic thing, because she not only she starred in this film, but we're trying to find it. Yeah, I didn't notice this though, because she voiced Ducky in the first Land Before Time. If you see this film, Ducky, the little small one, like next to Petrie, Ducky, the little small one that's on top of Spike. Yeah, she voiced Ducky in there, and I was like, wow. She voiced Ducky, but the tragic thing is though, she at the time like a year after Jaws 4: The Revenge, and the same year of The Land Before Time. The Land Before Time, I would say, is it was during that year she died in the year 1988, but just in July, just a few months before The Land Before Time was released. And this was a tragic set. This is a tragic, because it says here, from what I'm reading here, she was abused and she was murdered. Poor thing, Sad. It said here, sad. This one. I'm doing this because she starred in this film and then voiced in Land Before Time, which I really love. Like I said, the poster back there, but I was really. But she also voiced in All Dogs Go to Heaven. I think it was it was her father that killed her. He killed how was it? He was from I think he killed his wife, and then he killed her, then I think he killed himself, I think. I just don't want to take up too much time reading up though, but it was a sad thing that happened to this little girl. She was only 10 when she died. Such a tragedy. So just upon I know what happened to her, I know even when she was a little girl and she voiced Ducky, I did liked her. I did like her in this film. I'm be honest on that though. Because you know, just in retrospect, you know, it's such a tragic thing that happened to her, you know. Just saying, you know, plus voicing on Land Before Time. This is a poor little girl. Didn't live a full life. But anyway, back on. So I just want to point that out. So back on track. The Lance guest is Mike Brody, his wife and his daughter. They arrive back at home, and you know Ellen just tells them that, you know, it came, it came because it killed his brother, and he's like when he tells him to quit his job, telling him to quit his job, and telling him that it killed Sean, it killed his father, and he's saying dad died from a heart attack, but in her mind she's saying it was the fear that killed him, and so they decided, that they take her to the Bahamas where they live, So where, as anybody said, that doesn't make sense. Of course, the shark follows them to the Bahamas. How does the shark know? Does it have psychic abilities? Even though there was one point they mentioned voodoo, like when Velasquez told her, "Oh, come on, you can't believe that voodoo. Sharks don't commit murder, Yeah, it was voodoo. Like a witch doctor told the shark to go there. Yeah, voodoo. Yeah, anybody can say, well, one of the big problems with them is because just the shark just follows the family to the Bahamas. Yeah, because it has a big grudge against the Brody family because it did some three other of its family members. The first film, the second film, and the third film. Yeah, that's why. Because it's after the Brody family because it holds a grudge against them because it killed three members of its shark family. Yeah, big whooping whoop-de-doo. Yeah. Sharks are just as what Matt Hooper said in the first film. It's an eating machine. That's all it does is swim and eat and make little sharks, and that's all. That's all he said. That's what a great white is. That's all it's supposed to do. It doesn't have a human conscience, for revenge, That's what it doesn't care. It doesn't carry grudges. It doesn't carry revenges, But this one does. It's very smart, So it knows where the Brody family is going. It knows its way towards. It knows where the Bahamas is for a few days, traveling, But well, there's another thing which I'll get to in a moment. So there was a pointless thing where Ellen Brody has a dumb dream sequence where she's swimming and she gets attacked. That was like a pointless dumb dream sequence. Mario Van Peebles, who's Mike's friend with a fake Bahama accent. Michael Caine, who's a pilot. And Michael Caine, there was a point because he was nominated. He won an Academy Award for a film called Hannah and Her Sisters, but he couldn't accept his reward because he was reshooting the ending. Reshooting the ending of the film, so he missed. So he couldn't get his award. So he missed it. Just for, honestly, you have to reshoot for that ending. How that ending was. You're Michael Caine. You're better off just collecting your award instead of reshooting that ending. Just saying. And I also take on performances. Speaking of Michael Caine, I do have a poster of The Swarm, but it's not hung in my room though. I have it somewhere though. But he even said on The Swarm, he said it was one of the worst films he's ever did. Really? The Swarm is worse than Jaws 4. No, I like The Swarm. It's a great Killer Bee film. One of the best, I think, the only best Killer Bee film there is. And he say it's one of the worst films he's ever done. Worse than Jaws 4. Wow. Um, so then, uh, when Marvin Peebles as Jake, he's under this underwater submarine using to study snails, and while Mike and a couple other crew members are up on the boat, the shark just swims past them and surfaces up to chew this part of the boat. Um, that was funny because there was just like poor special effects though. Well, there was a piece of a poor special effects. So as you can see, when the shark was chewing on this part of the deck of the boat, you can see how fast it loses its teeth if you look closely. But the next shot, there's more teeth on there. That was a poor special effect, And that was the everybody says that's like the worst special effects in though. But I'm gonna be really honest on this part. I do appreciate people might get mad at me for it, but just for a pinch of salt, there was a small teensy weensy portion of me liking this film. Just a teensy weensy portion, like this big. Because in retrospect, But I'll get to this part towards the end of this review. But I just want to before I begin, I just want to keep on going track with the plot. So I'll say that one part at the end of the review when I'm finished. So getting on, they want to plan to track the shark some more. So Jake sticks this thing on the side of a shark, so it'll track its heartbeat. Then pretty much then like the next day when Mike is underneath the water, he gets attacked by the shark and he escapes. He starts swimming to this underwater. If I don't look at the place he swam to, was like an underwater labyrinth or was like a sunken ship. I couldn't tell. It looked like a sunken ship to me. It looked like a sunken ship, or I thought it looked like a maze or something, but it was like a sunken ship though. And you can see how you swim in. The shark just squeezes its way in there, And you can see that he's trying to get this door open, and the shark's coming toward him, and he finally does, and then the shark just gets stuck there. Now, here's the thing. When you look inside you look inside that place he was in, the walls are very narrow, and it's not big enough space for a shark to turn around and swim back. And the shark obviously cannot swim backwards, so that shark could have got stuck there and died. It couldn't fit through the doorway, and there's no space for it to turn around because it was a thin hallway. I was like, okay, no way to get out. It can't swim backwards, and it's stuck there. And then the shark will eventually die off. So that would end the movie right there. But somehow, while he's trying to use his air tank to shoot him back up to the surface, somehow it managed to get out there and crash through a wall. So it was stuck there. So obviously it teleported out of there. So, but he gets to safety. So. But then, like, the next day, he wants to go back in the water for some reason to try to track it down, but he can't find it. All of a sudden, a moray eel just pops in his face. Then it cuts to the beach where his wife was getting, like, an award because this thing that she made, I don't know what it was. But, Thea, played Judith Barcey, goes on this little water ride. Now, was called the Banana Boat, and she wants to go on a ride there, and that was just another funny thing is like Ellen Brockovich, somehow she can sense that the shark is coming. Looking out of the distance, she can pretty much sense, okay, you're that tragedy. Somehow you can start sensing where the shark is coming. But the shark comes up and attacks the passengers on this boat, but it looked like it was gonna go for the girl, but then it takes this girl, eats this girl. I don't know why, just, but she goes into a state of shock, so, but then Lorraine Gary, she takes Mike's boat, goes after him, and Mike and Jake, they they take Michael Caine with them to on his plane to fly, see where she's at, but they see her, and he lands in the water, and he gets attacked by the shark, but he got out from the other side. As the shark takes the boat as the shark sinks the plane. Then of course another default, as Michael Caine comes up to the boat, he's perfectly dry. How can you be dry when you were just in the water? That's impossible. But then there was but Jake had this plan to stick this thing in his mouth, and but somehow he falls. And he's going to stick the thing in his mouth, but somehow he falls, and it looked like he was practically in the shark's mouth. I don't know how he could have survived it though, but get to that. And then Mike gets this second thing that looks like the thing Jake put in the shark's mouth. Mill probably said will drive it crazy, and he does a couple times. And as it's pretty much like zaps it a bit. You can hear, of course, another impossible thing: sharks do not roar. You can hear it roar. You can hear it roar like a dinosaur. You hear a roar. And sharks do not stand on the tip of its tail when it was going for Jake. You saw that how it pops the water, and seeing how Ellen Bro was going to ram the boat in with the shark standing on its tail, and roaring like a dinosaur, roaring like a T-Rex. And this is what happens in one of the endings. Now the original ending, how they killed the shark in the original ending, is that Ellen Boy just takes the tip of the bow, the pointy end of it, and just sticks into the shark, poking it from one side or the other, and it bleeds to death. Right, and then it's considering that the shark is heavy, it snaps it snaps the boat apart, as it sinks towards the bottom of the ocean. That's how the original ending was. Just sticks the pointy ends of the stick of the boat and sticks into the shark, and it bleeds to death and sinks to the bottom of the ocean. That's how the original ending was. And of course but the directors didn't like that ending because it would have been impossible. Okay, makes sense. It was It would have been unrealistic. That made sense. So we decided to reshoot it. And this was the reshoot that Michael Caine missed his award for. So he goes from that ending. So and the second thing what happened is when Ellen rams the boat into the shark again, just explode. As soon as he rams the shark into the boat, just explodes for no reason. So how can you stick the boat into the shark and make it explode for no reason? And then I can clearly tell there was two shots that they used footage from the first film, as the shark explodes, There was one shot where the shark explodes from the first film, then the second shot where the rest of the parts of the shark just sinks down to the water. That shot from the first one they used. And as you can freeze frame it, when you freeze frame it, before when the shark explodes, because let me see here. I have this iPad here, or yeah. As you can see, this is what if you freeze frame it. This is what that looks like before the shark explodes. Look at that. How horrible does that look? See, where the shark is how the shark is destroyed. It looks like a freaking toy, and it just it looks like a freaking toy. Even how the boat looks looks like a freaking toy. How terrible is that? Pretty much anybody in the entire world would say, That's how pretty much anyone would say. That's like, but then the film ends, and you see Jake still swimming, still bleeding. I don't know how he survived that though. But then the film ends with Michael Caine that just takes the plane, takes Ellen back to the homeland of Anime Island, and that's when the film ends. Now, getting to that thing I said earlier, like I mentioned, by a teensy bit. Part of me likes this a teensy bit because, it's a Jaws film though. They still use a practical shark, but it's definitely not on par with the first. It'll never come close how the shark looked in the first film. Never. Quick recap. Here's a quick recap. First film. Masterpiece. Nothing wrong with this film whatsoever. Number 2. Solid sequel. Great sequel as anybody would say. Number 3. I watch this as a guilty pleasure. I do. It's cheesy, but they still use a practical shark. Animatronic, no CGI except for the 3D shots. I watch it as a time waster, so I like it as an okay film, as a time waster, as a cheesy, decent film. The cast was fine as well. Now this film, how's it? The little girl, Judith Barcey. I do like her because in retrospect, you know, she was brutally murdered at such a young age. It was such a tragedy. It was such a tragedy, you know. I would give retrospect because she was young and she never lived a full life, and she voiced the Land Before Time as Ducky. So she was fine. I will give her that. I honestly did like Lance Guest because I liked him in Halloween 2. I do remember he also appeared in an episode of the X-Files, the classic TV series, the X-Files. I do remember seeing Lance Guest make an appearance in one of the episodes. Lorraine Gary, she was okay, especially this was her last film. And Michael Caine, I like this performance in the Swarm much better than this film, despite him saying that was the worst film he did. The Swarm is way better than Jaws 4: The Revenge for Michael Caine. I don't know why I was thinking of saying. I like Michael Caine. Nothing disrespectful, but I'm saying you shouldn't have said that it was your worst performance, because, well, The Swarm was 1978 and this was 87, almost 10 years after The Swarm. So he probably would have said this. He probably would have said this is probably the worst. I take it back on The Swarm. This is much more worse than The Swarm, you know. I don't know if he said it though, but I'm just me from personal experience and all. That's pretty much what he will be thinking after he saw this film or doing this film, you know, because he missed collecting his award for reshooting the ending of this film. Yeah, so the practical shark effect, okay, it still looked pretty good because it's a use of practical shark, but it was definitely not the best as the first film or the second film. Maybe pretty much on the same as number 3, maybe. And sorry, my throat's getting a little dry. The theme that plays right at the start of the film, where from the shark's point of view swimming, you know, where it shows the title. I do like the theme for that. Definitely not comparing with John Williams' original score though. No, nothing comes close to that. But I do like the theme for the opening of the film. You know, because how would I describe the theme is that it was like, let's say it was they played it like much more like a scarier version, because it's saying this is gonna be like the ultimate Jaws film. You know, it goes like dun 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 dun. It was doing it really fast. You know. So I did like the opening theme to that. I still listen to it. So I'm being really honest on that. And I would say, here's the thing why I like this. Here's the main point why I say I like this. Just to buy a teensy bit. I would say like about I don't want to give a percentage because otherwise you think I'm not being fair because, oh, this is the worst film ever made. You should just hate it plain and simple. There was a, but I will still say this: Jaws for the Revenge. I'll just straight out say this: this is way better than the dumb, crappy, poorly effects on shark films on Sci-Fi Channel. I would say this is way better than Sharknado. I would say this is way better than Ghost Shark. Because during this summer, here, I saw that. I was like this when I saw Sharknado and Ghost Shark. I really wanted to punch a hole in the wall. I really did when I saw those. And people, when I saw on reviews and here, I'm gonna do this really quick. I don't care how long this takes. I just want to point this out. Sharknado. Where is it? Right here. Right here. Sharknado. Now, honestly, when you compare it to this, how incredibly dumb and stupid the idea is. Because I saw this on Sci-Fi, and an hour in, you don't see this until the very end of the film. I swear. Most of the time, it's just bad CGI sharks swimming in flooded streets. That's it. And when you do see it, it is way, way beyond mediocre. Even the tagline says right there, enough said. Enough said. I was absolutely stupefied when I saw this. And people were giving this the pass. Freaking 79% on Rotten Tomatoes. A freaking 79% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't get it. I don't freaking get it. And when I saw Ghost Shark, oh man, the idea was even dumber than this. Oh, but here's the thing. See, hold on. Where is it? I know I have it. I know I have it somewhere. Here it is. See this? I got a T-shirt of it. Cause my mom, she knows I like shark movies. I like Jaws a lot. So she got me this. So I was kind enough to accept it because she got me this shirt because she knows I like shark films. So, but I will say I will not wear it. I will not. Never. Never, ever, ever, ever. So that's the real reason why I have it because mom got that to me because she knows I like shark films. I like sharks in general too. But I will not wear that. Never. Because I got offended how dumb on how the ideas that Hollywood would be. Coming up with ideas like that is they just pull it right out of their rear end, That's why I would say. That's why I would say straight out say Jaws for the Revenge is 10 times better than those dumb, stupid, bullcrap films on Sci-Fi. 10 times better than Sharknado. 10 times better than Ghost Shark. The idea of a ghost shark, yeah. A shark gets killed, and it gets brought back as a ghost by voodoo in this brightly lit cave. That's a voodoo ground. And it can appear from anywhere. And wherever there's water, like a water puddle on the ground, it can appear from there. It can appear from on a slip and slide. There was even a scene in a car where girls are doing a car wash. It appeared from a bucket of water and ate the girl in the bucket of water. Ah. That's why I would say this film would beat the crap out of, as dumb as this film is, those are way, way worse. And even that film gets shit on. That film, people hate, I don't know why. That was a flop at the box office because it was probably released in January. That was probably the main reason. And that has like 11. I think it was 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. But Sharknado, that gets a freaking 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, and even people want, and since it got a lot of great notices, a lot of people liked it. They're gonna do a sequel coming out next year in July 2014. Even people here holding up cardboard surfboards that they're demanding a sequel. So look there, right there, Sharknado 2. Put your title right there. Advertising for a Sharknado. I don't get it. Well, I know. People have every right to their opinions. I do respect that. Okay, I do respect that. They can like whatever they want. I'm not gonna harp on people for it, but at the same time, I just don't get why people like it so much. What is so great about Sharknado? You got Tyra Reid in there, that's the freaking crap film Alone in the Dark video game movie. I would say the only decent thing was actor John Hurt. He made an appearance in this film, from Chud and Home Alone 1 and 2. I would say he was the only decent actor in the film, but that's not saying much though. I just don't get why people love that film. That's why I like this. That's why I would say I like this just by a little bit because of that reason. I just don't get it. I will never get it. So yeah. So that's my my review / rant on Jaws 4: The Revenge. It is still a piece of crap film. But I do like it just for a tiny bit, because how the shark was, even the look of it, how the face looked, and that's why I still say it's way better than this stuff on sci-fi. This film would beat the crap out of any of the dumb killer shark sci-fi films, Two-Head Shark Attack, Spring Break Malibu Attack, Super Croc versus Dino. Super Alligator versus Dino Croc, whatever those dumb stuff they have in sci-fi now, those dumb creature feature films. Or any of the dumb sci-fi shark films. Ghost Shark or Sharknado. I would say it's way better than those films. Hands down. I'm saying to you with a straight face too, because normally I can't keep a straight face, most of the time, especially, with jokes and stuff like that though. But I've said to you with a straight face, this is way better than the stuff on the dumb sci-fi shark films on Sci-Fi Channel. I'm not laughing. I'm just being really honest right now. So yeah. So masterpiece. No. Solid sequel. Guilty pleasure. The worst in the series. But yeah, I do agree with it. It's one of the worst films of all time. But I've seen films that are way, way worse. But I do give respect to that. But I've still seen the films that are way worse than this, though. just want to be honest on that. So thanks for watching, and that's my reviews on the Jaws series. So stay tuned for more reviews later.